In today's fast-paced business world, reliable logistics is key to success. That's where PC and FS Logistics come in. With a comprehensive range of services including air, sea and domestic transport, as well as secure warehousing, we've got your supply chain covered. From origin destination, our expert team ensures your goods are handled with care and delivered on time, every time.
We're fantastically joined by so many different people from the game today. Gary, Angelo, Kenny, myself up there, and of course, the man right at the moment right now, Mr. Davidson. Let's party. Here we go. Hey. Hup. Check it out. Hup. Feel it. Hup. Here we go, guys. Let's do it. Hey. The cup of life. This is the one. Now is the time. Don't ever stop. We should have known, gotta be strong. We should have known, right from the top. And when you feel the heat, the world is at your feet. No one can hold you back if you really want it there. Of course, I see it in your soul. You want the cup of life. Night to days, you're gonna get it there. Wardy, Judy, Angelo, Kenny, Davo, do you guys want it? Oh, we're gonna get him tonight. We are the people. We are the passion. We are the history. We're gonna create history tonight. We're gonna talk about someone we're really sad about. We're angry, mate. It's our way, the highway. It's definitely our way, the highway. Gentlemen, boys, welcome tonight to football. Let's welcome everybody. Mate, honestly, Gary Ward, Angelo, Kenny, and of course Davo, Alan Davidson, guys, and of course we are furious, we are crazy, it's a shit-uation. I call it the shit-uation. Sorry for swearing, but and that's the way it is. But I tell you what, mate, there are people out there on social media who are outraged. Has this brought the game into disrepute in Australia? And I tell you what, Ange Postecoglou was representing everyone in Australia in of course, the English Premier League. And of course, I'm going to bring Davo because Davo used to actually play with. I'm going to lose it tonight, Davo. You start first, mate. He won't start.
Oh, God.
Ange, mate, Ange.
Yeah, I know. I think everyone feels the same way. You know, it's a shock, you know, because, you know, he's had a tough season. He had a lot of injuries and he's still come up with the trophy like he always talks about. He brings a trophy in every second year and he's achieved that. And for them to sack him, I'm really shocked. I was shocked and even the talk about it, you know, the players are all behind him and, you know, the board is obviously listening to someone and I don't know how they came up with it because he's won a trophy and I thought they would have, you know, been happy with that. But, and a European, you know, not only bringing in 100 million euros into the club, but also, you know, going into the Champions League as well. You know, he's achieved more than any other club apart from Liverpool.
Plus, he's one of us from Australia. And I tell you what, I'm going to bring Gary on right now. Gary, there's two words today I want to say to you. Oh, it's actually a name. It's a swear word today. It's called Daniel Levy. It's a swear word. What do you think of that?
Well, I think he's a businessman and not a football man. That's the problem. Because, you know, what are you in football for? You know, what sort of memory do you want to leave? What sort of trademark do you want to, you know, you put your stamp on? I mean, if it's been 40 plus years since Tottenham have won in Europe and 17 since they've won a trophy anywhere, and in your second season you say, well, you know, I've delivered for you. I've delivered two of the three things I wanted to deliver. Do you know what I mean? And you got 250,000 people in Tottenham Court Road welcoming that double-decker bus with the roof off. 250,000 people, and they will never have that again. You know, they haven't had it for 40-odd years. They won't have that again. So what are you in football for, Daniel Levy? What are you there for? Are you there just to run a spreadsheet, to look at the profit and loss statement? Or are you in it for something that will leave a memory for everybody that's associated with the club forever? Well, what are you in it for? That's my point.
Angelo, of course, in Italy, they're probably talking as well because you're right in Europe and you can hear all the stuff wherever you can. What are they saying? Are they going to offer him something? I've heard that Roma was interested in him as well. So have you heard much at all?
Yeah, well, look, Ange Postecoglou, I mean, his record speaks for itself. You know, I think if he had done the same thing in Italy, as Davo was saying before, I mean, he hasn't done anything wrong at all because he knew he was going to have a very thin squad. He had lots of injuries, and in January he approached Daniel Levy and his staff, and he said, "Look, I've got lots of injuries. Can we recruit players?" The answer was no. They didn't get anybody to replace those first 11 players. So Ange, as a smart man, as we know he is, he decided to go for a different sort of aim and objective, which was the Europa League. He knew he could have won it because, as Kenny said last week, you know, not all of the teams that sort of like get eliminated from the Champions League drop to the Europa League. So it was a better chance. Angelo did what he promised to do. He delivered that trophy. But let me say, you know, in addition to what Gary was saying before, you know, if the situation was in Italy, the club, I could put my hand on fire, that would have definitely made him continue his journey with the club because, you know, the financial windfall is incredible, guys. Let me tell you, he's won Europa Liga, that's 30 million euros, not dollars, okay? Also, he's won participation in the Champions League, that's another 50 million guaranteed because the new Champions League format is that there are 36 teams and you're guaranteed 8 games. That's opposed to the old format. So there's going to be 80 million going into the coffers of the Tottenham Hotspurs Football Club. So there's going to be something other than, you know, results because at the end of the day, he knew he wasn't going to get relegated. Okay? He knew he wasn't going to get relegated. He was 10 points, 11 points up, you know, from the third bottom team. So, you know, gentlemen, I'm really lost for words. I think Daniel Levy is, like Gary said, he's not a football man, but he's got different sort of aims and objectives, different sort of like achievement. You know, I really don't understand it. I think that most of the world of football, people that know football in the world of football, are lost for words as to why he got sacked.
Let me say, Kenny, of course, Kenny, one side he's failed in the Premier League, but the problem is in England, you have an opportunity, if you finish in a certain time, a certain level, second, third, fourth, or even seventh or something, you've got an opportunity to bring back your in a different competition to win a prize, which he's done. So one side they're saying he's a failure, the other side saying he's a championship winning coach. So what does that mean?
I mean, I think, look, we're emotionally attached to Ange. We all love Ange, right? So let's acknowledge that. The reality is, and what we were talking about just before we came on, you know, Mourinho, Ancelotti, there's plenty of them being sacked multiple times from big clubs, right? They bounce back. They always bounce back, as will Ange. Taking the emotion out of the whole thing, 38 points was absolutely atrocious. In a normal season, that could have probably got you relegated. And I don't quite buy the fact that, you know, I think players should be able to play Wednesday, Sunday. With the medical staff we have now, the diets, players should be able to play 2 games a week. I think. I'm at a loss to know why we can compete in the Europa, but then can't against Wolves and, you know, Fulham, and, you know, and I think that's what's caught up to him. He had 22 players, acknowledging he had a lot of injuries, but so did Arsenal, and so, I mean, lots of the clubs had multiple injuries. Man City lost their 3 best players for most of the season. So I don't think his squad's as good as people make out. I think the squad's still quite weak, and I think the players let them down, in my opinion. You know, I think a lot of them were hot and cold with Charleston, and there was quite a few of them, you know, that let him down at the right time, at the time when he needed them. I think what Angelo mentioned. The big plus was that none of the Champions League teams dropped down into the Europa this year, and it left a clean run. Because we have to be honest, Man United Tottenham is one of the worst European Cup finals, or a European final that I've ever watched. I thought it was atrocious, as a game. And I mean, Tottenham, I think, were the far better side. But I think the quality was for a premium second tier to the Champions League. I think it was pretty average, guys. I've got to say. So I'm not worried about Ange. Ange will bounce back and he'll get a good job, whether it be in the Championship, whether he might pick up another Premier League or in Italy. I don't think he'll take a Greek national job, but he'll get a club. I'd be probably a bit more concerned, and hopefully he'll take his same backroom staff, because he's got the 3 Australian-linked boys as his backroom staff, and Thomas Frank's already negotiating to bring the Brentford boys there. So obviously they won't be staying, and they're the ones I sort of feel sorry for, because they're not on £5 million a year. So and they've got to uproot their families. They're in London now. Say Ange does get a job somewhere else. Hopefully, and I'm sure he will. He'll probably want to take them. But it's a big uproot for them. Families, kids,
Yes.
schools, all that sort of stuff. So, but you know what? Ange can wear it with a badge of honour. There's plenty of great. I mean, Bobby Robson. So Bobby Robson got sacked 2 or 3 times. Barcelona, Newcastle. England. There's plenty of times. There's only one thing that's guaranteed as a manager: you will get sacked at some stage.
Dave, I want to bring you.
will get sacked.
I want to bring you on, Dave, because you know Ange pretty well, because you played with him for many years at South Melbourne. By any chance, I'm feeling this vision. I'm getting this vision made in my mind right now. He's going to laugh at me in a sec. I don't know what I'm about to say. I'm getting this vision. Have you contacted him at all? Have you had any text messages or any messages whatsoever?
No, I don't really. I spoke to Ange a lot. When I say a lot, during when we played, he was quiet. He was a quiet boy. He was a young boy, and he was a quiet boy at the time. And then sort of when Jason was in the national team under Ange,
Yes,
that's where I bumped into him a few times in the elevator, and we talked about things, and I'm a fan of Ange, and I want Ange to do well. I think he's holding the flag for Australia and the Greeks as well, and also going from Japan, going to Scotland, going to England, and in the Premier League. He's at the top of the tree, so, and he's just won a major trophy as well. So we're really proud of him, but I don't ring him or send texts, and for that, you must get millions of people doing that anyway, so I think he changes his number a few times as well. So
he would,
but like I said, I'm a fan. And, I talked to him, this is not the first time that, I shouldn't bring it up again, but, it wasn't that long ago when he was coaching the national team, he was under a lot of pressure, and he just won the bloody, when he took over to go to the World Cup, he was under a lot of pressure, and then, there was a lot of people bagging him then from Australia. People don't remember that. It was terrible, and that's what made Ange leave. He resigned because of people wanted him out to get other people in, or whatever, or for whatever personal reasons, and they were in media, and I still remember it. You know what I mean? And he got over that. He resigned. He went to Japan, did well there. Went to Scotland, done well there, and. He hasn't had easy rides. Even when he went to Scotland, I remember in Scotland they were turning around saying, "Who the hell's this guy? Bloody, what the hell?"
Yeah, I remember what they was it. What's his name? Alan Brazil. Alan Brazil started stirring him. Who's this guy? Alan Brazil. The way he was mentioning his name in Scotland, I couldn't believe it. It was like treated like a joke in Scotland. Of course, he was treated like a joke in Scotland. But then when he got these trophies, my God, Davo.
In today's fast-paced business world, reliable logistics is key to success. That's where PC and FS Logistics come in. With a comprehensive range of services including air, sea and domestic transport, as well as secure warehousing, we've got your supply chain covered. From origin destination, our expert team ensures your goods are handled with care and delivered on time, every time. Do you have what it takes to become a soccer superstar? Look no further than Soccer Pro Academy. Led by experienced coaches, including a former Socceroo, the Academy provides world-class training to help you reach your full potential. From technical skills to tactical awareness, they'll help you develop the skills and mindset needed to succeed at the highest level. Soccer Pro Academy, where champions are made.
Are you looking for the perfect kit for your football club? Try Arrow Sport today. From jerseys to shorts to socks, Arrow Sport will have you completely covered. We can even cover your merchandising line, including hats, beanies, scarves, jumpers, and so much more. So if you're looking for excellent lead times, great pricing, and even better quality, try Arrow Sport today by looking at our website at arrowsport.com.au. And even better quality, try Arrow Sport today by looking at our website at arrowsport.com.au.
Looking for a haven to unwind and indulge? Look no further than Brista Cafe, nestled in the heart of Derrimut Village Shopping Centre. From decadent homemade gourmet cookies to scrumptious muffins, every bite is a delight. Everyone loves Brista Cafe, and you will too. So why wait? Visit Brista Cafe today and taste the difference for yourself.
Hi guys, Harry Sundai here, letting you know that there's a apparel company that supports the game that you love. It's called ThereIsOnlyOneFootball.com, guys. You've got all sorts of stuff, from caps, t-shirts, water bottles, all sorts of accessories, even for your mobile phone.
In today's fast-paced business world, reliable logistics is key to success. That's where PC and FS Logistics come in. With a comprehensive range of services including air, sea and domestic transport, as well as secure warehousing, we've got your supply chain covered. From origin destination, our expert team ensures your goods are handled with care and delivered on time, every time.
Yeah, but then they're all, even in Australia now, the same people who were bagging him back then, they're all, on his side now. And then even in Scotland, the people who were bagging him, they're fans of Ange now. So Ange is used to these sort of negativity type, stereotype people where he goes, and he's got to obviously build his name and win, and then he earns their respect, and then he moves on to other greater heights, So this is what's happening in England is with Tottenham. It's no different to what happened at Chelsea. At what's his name? Celtic, and also when he was here at national team, he left the national team because of all the shit he was getting, and he's just won the Asian Cup.
I know.
It was ridiculous.
I think another positive, Dave, I don't know if it's a positive, but it's something that happens in the football world at a very high level. When two sides don't get on, like, for example, Levy and Postecoglou, it's better to get sacked. Now, I'm saying that, I'm referring to the commercial side of things. If you walk away from a contract, then the lawyers get involved and you get paid less. But if you actually get sacked like Ange did,
Ange is laughing all the way to the bank.
Oh yes,
exactly.
Oh, yes, he is.
I think the same happened to Ancelotti when he was at Napoli. He came from Real Madrid to Napoli. Things weren't going well the second year. He got the sack. He went to Everton. Then Everton are sitting 15th or 16th on the table, and all of a sudden he gets the Real Madrid job. So coaches are used to this. They walk away. Ancelotti did the same at Bayern Munich. He got sacked, and then he had to get paid out. So they're laughing to the bank, guys, and we're the ones that are stressed.
Angelo, you hear a lot of things about Serie A, of course, in Italy, how brutal it is towards the coaches, the way that the coaches have been treated in their press conferences and some of the rubbish they say. I mean, I think Ange has had enough of that to himself. The way he actually answered them was really good, or some of the stuff he answered. But in Italy, it's brutal. We're talking here, tabloids and newspapers, these reporters that come there and talk. What are they like? You've probably seen it on TV. Probably the coach starts swearing at them and throws chairs at them or something. I've seen something like that. Is that right? Oh, mate.
Yeah. Look, I've been to media conferences in Napoli during Champions League, and let me tell you, I must say that the English tabloid, and I think Gary will back me up, they are the worst in the world. They have to be, because they attack you. They're very intelligent. They attack you on the little things like they did with Ange. But Ange handled it well, and at the end of the day, Ange even came out in the papers and said, "I want to continue in my job. I want to honour my contract." You know, the fact that he had 2 years running in his contract, he kept saying that, and he was very smart. He was very intelligent. He played the game right up until the end, because he got the sack. That means he has to get paid out. And I think that coaches realise that. If you start to play a game, I want to stay and, trying to get the lawyer to trying to honour the contract from the club's point of view, then you go to the negotiation table and you don't get paid out, all the money that you need to get. Whereas if you get sacked, it's the club that sacks you. And, of course, Ange, in this case, he's actually 100% correct, because he won a major trophy. He did not win a League's Cup.
No.
Like Gary was mentioned before, 17 years. It is 41 years, gentlemen. 41 years since they won a major trophy. And Levy, he wouldn't even know that, because he's been close. He's made a Champions League final. But at the end of the day, gentlemen, Ange Postecoglou is a hero, not only for Australia, but for a lot of the Tottenham fans.
Now, what I want to go on, you want to say something, Dave? It's up to you. What do you want to say? Something, or I'll bring.
No, I was just saying. I agree with Ange. What he's talking about in terms of, with the Tottenham fans, he's just won them a trophy.
It's just
they can't play.
Nobody can understand.
Ange had to put up with. Ange had to put up with the Scottish press, and that was a really good lead in to the English press. Because, the Scottish press, remember, I think after 5 games, he'd lost to Rangers, which was obviously a criminal offence in Scotland.
Oh, my God.
And I think he drew a couple and won a couple. So that's not a great start. And they were saying, "So how do you pronounce your name again?" And he said, "Don't worry, you'll know how to pronounce it by the end of the season." So he wins the double, then he wins the treble. I mean, you can only play who's in front of you, and he did what he did. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it was so ballsy. You think of all the the great English commentators, from Alan Shearer to Ferdinand. They've all been out saying, he put his reputation on the line by saying, when the journalist said, "You say that you often win a trophy in your second season. How do you feel about that?" He said, "I didn't say I do, and, they've been saying, wow, I mean, you really put your balls on the table there and you delivered. That takes some doing. So the respect that he's getting now, I mean, I came out of a bakery a few days ago, and this guy that I know, we often talk a bit of football, and he had a crowd of people I didn't know who he was talking with. They said, "Oh, Gary, you're a bit of a football man. Tell me about Ange. Tell me what's going on. They sacked him. What do you think about that?" I mean, I'm in a bakery in Wahroonga, and all of the audience want to talk about Ange Postecoglou. So whichever way you look at it, I mean, he's drawn a lot of attention to the game in a kind of funny way that the general public here are talking about Ange Postecoglou and the round ball. And I just think, I'm just happy for the publicity. I'm happy that football is there on the, whether they think, has that been the wrong thing done by Ange Postecoglou? At least we're talking about it. because football Australia, I mean, I had, what was that game against Japan? What was it last Monday night? I don't know.
We're going to talk about that shortly too.
Nothing in the paper about that.
Geez.
They played like a bunch of, whatever.
Mate, I have to say the worst two supporters groups in the UK are Spurs and Arsenal. They are absolutely shocking. They jump ship so quickly. I mean, I've got probably 5 or 6 close mates of mine who are Spurs fans. I've got 3 or 4 who are Arsenal fans. The Spurs fans, up until 4 weeks ago, they wanted Angelo ages ago. They just not. And I think it's probably a 50-50 split now. And Arsenal's just as bad. They're talking about, Arteta. Well, he's not won anything, and he's in his 5th year. And the Arsenal fans that I know are saying, "Oh no, he's got one more season, or he's got to go." I mean, I find that quite strange. Well, it's strange. It's very strange. I mean, there's only one team can win the league. There's only one team can win the Champions League. There's only one. Everyone else has got to run bridesmaid. And I think a lot of teams, that position themselves to get Champions League football for a financial perspective. And Levy, going back to what you're saying about Levy, I don't think anyone will argue that he's built the best football stadium probably in Europe, facility-wise. It's magnificent. I don't know if anyone's been there, but it's like beyond belief. Multi-purpose. You can play. You have concerts there. You can have NFL. They've got the retractable pitches. It's an amazing build. So they probably commercially will be generating more money than even Man United and even Liverpool because of the ground they've got and the amount of things they can use it for. So I don't think it was Levy that's actually got rid of him, to be honest. I don't think Levy had a bad relationship with Ange. I never actually
the board behind McKennie, maybe that's what I've heard too.
Well, I think Joe Lewis. I think there's a few. Yeah, I think there's been a bit of a coup, because I don't think. I mean, and keep in mind, he's that Levy is. He's the major shareholder of the club, right? But I just don't get a feel. I mean, he's taking the hit because he's got to make the decision. But I think deep down, I think it came from other parties, and it'll be interesting. The story will eventually come out because Levy hasn't really said anything, has he?
No,
he's not commented. He's just move on.
Kenny, you mentioned about the worst supporters. I think it's the worst management as well. They got to take the trophy for both. I mean, if you're talking sense, we're not talking just football. We're talking about administration. We're talking about management. If Levy is the chairman, he is responsible, and the board is responsible. To me, I mean, I can tell you guys the fact that Giampiero Gasparini, who coaches Atlanta, he's now moved to Roma. He was going to get sacked last season when they won. If you guys remember, Leverkusen had never lost a game in Germany, 52 games. Atlanta was playing in the Europa League, the same league that Ange won. He actually won that game 3-0, and then they kept him on for another year. And, of course, this year he left. But no one makes that stupid decision. I mean, it is a stupid decision unless Ange has insulted him or insulted one member of the board. We don't know. It could have happened.
I don't think it's that, mate. I think, in fairness, if we strip it back, he got 38 points in the Premier League, and unfortunately, English teams are gauged on the Premier League performance. All the supporters at any club, you ask them what they'd rather win the Premier League or finish in the top 2 or 3 than win the Europa or win the League Cup or win the FA Cup. Supporters they turn up every week, mate. They turn up every week with a season ticket.
I think the supporters at the beginning of the season, if you said to them, would you like a European trophy or would you like to finish 15th or 16th or whatever, they'd say, I'll take a European trophy, get into the Champions League, we'll pick up the €100 million, And just imagine we'll be playing at home next season, possibly against Real Madrid. I think they'd take that all day.
Well, mate, the problem you've got is you get supporters filling out every week with a season ticket,
Mate.
And they want to see. As much as we would like to think, we'll weather the storm. We'll just keep losing every week, but we'll progress in Europa. I don't think the average supporter is happy with that, guys. I'm sorry.
Kenny, it's a very strong point. Let me tell you that Juventus won nine Serie A titles consecutively in Italy, but they couldn't do well in Champions League. I think at the end of the day, what you're saying is basically what Gary and I are saying as well. I mean, what is the objective of each Premier League team? Is to win the Premier League or get into the top four for the Champions League. Ange actually got to the Champions League. I mean, whether it's flawless or not, because of the fact that if you win a trophy, he's finished 16th, 17th, whatever. But he's actually achieved what they want. I mean, if they don't want that,
the players at Tottenham. Look at the Sons and the Romarios and these guys. They're saying we've got memories. We've got memories for life that we never. Son's been there 10 years at Tottenham. He's never won anything. He said they called him the gaffer. They love him. They're really. He's got whoever takes over has got to win the changing room because they're really, really upset right now. I mean, there was once about 8-10 weeks ago when Ange said, "I'm playing 6 boys that are under 19 years old because I'm trying to save my senior players to win the Europa," because he had a narrow squad. I mean, Harry Kane buggered off because he thought he'd never win anything. If he'd have stayed there, he would have done. I mean, I just anyway.
Go on, Davo.
You also got to take into consideration the amount of players that did get injured during the year as well. So based it on that as well. If you turned around and said to me, I've got so many players out injured, and I'll still win you a trophy,
mate.
I can't understand how they justify it.
Can't.
See, the issue is what also happens, mate, as and I'll know, and you'll know. Then the question is, why are they getting so many injuries? We're not talking about 3 or 4. We're talking about 12. So the question is asked: why are you losing a whole team with injuries? Is it the training? Is it the preparation? Is it just the players who saying they're injury prone? I mean, there's a lot of questions to be answered with that, mate.
Kenny, but whoever's he brought in, they've had medical tests and everything. What does it tell you there too?
Well, you would expect that.
So,
and
Kenny,
that's the other point.
I'm trying to understand your question, Kenny. So what are you saying here? So it's Ange's fault?
No. What I'm saying is that the club itself has got a structure. All the clubs have got a structure. So you've got whoever's bringing the players in, it could be the technical director, whoever's bringing them in, they should be getting full medicals.
Yes.
They should be passing them. To have 12 players injured, that's astronomical. Long term, we're talking about, yeah? Long term. So that's no normal. You wouldn't put that down as a normal situation. 2 or 3 players, yeah, maybe. Like Madison, for example. I mean, they signed him, but he has been injury prone his whole career.
Yes.
He's been injury prone his whole career. Anyone that has followed his career knows that he played 3, missed 2. Played 3, they paid huge money for him. Huge money. And that's the other thing. They spent a lot of money in 2 years, Tottenham. It's not as if they've scrimped and scraped. They spent a lot of money. I think it's 185 million across 2 years. So they've not gone skinny. I suppose the point I'm trying to make is that there's a lot of questions to be asked in regards to why was 12 players long-term injuries. Was it the coming with injuries? Did they arrive with injuries? Have they got bad backs, bad knees, whatever? These are defining things for a team. Especially for Ange this year. The fact that 22-man squad, and you're talking of potentially 12 missing. That's horrendous.
Something's wrong here.
So something's not right with that.
But he still won a trophy.
Yeah. No, he did. He did.
Yeah. Kenny, at the end of the day, he's won a major trophy. Whether he had injuries, didn't have injuries, he managed his group. Davo and Gary have played football, they would know what happens when you get a lot of injuries. Like in Italian Serie A, I think Napoli had a lot of injuries this year. We won the Serie A. I could talk about that, but we won't. But as far as Angelo Postecoglou, he got to the end. He won a fantastic trophy. And you even said that Tottenham invested 180 million. Well, he's just got 80 million back. And what is Daniel Levy thinking about? What is the board thinking about? What do they want? Do they think that Thomas Frank
we know what they want. We know what they want. They want to finish obviously top four and push to win the Premier League. That's obvious.
That's all they want.
But can't they see, Kenny? Can't they see what's happened? You know, like at Man United when they appointed Alex Ferguson as the manager. You know, on a 4 or 5 year contract, and after 1 year they wanted his head. After 2 years, he nearly got relegated. In the third year, he's going, "I'm going to have to blood some young boys." And he brings in the Giggs and the Beckhams and the Nevilles and the Scholes and the Butts, and you know, he just brings them all in and says, "Well, you're all playing under 21 together. You may as well just be blooded here." You know, then they get some experience like Cantona and Keane or whatever, and then the rest is history. But it took him 3-4 seasons to get to that level. You know, so I could see Ange kind of almost like he's had to blood some young guys, but, you know, they started to get better with every game. And I could see him going into next season with a lot of momentum, with a lot of positivity about the trophy that they've won, playing some European games. I just thought, you know, he'd done really hard yards for the first 2 years to get to this third year. And I certainly wouldn't have given him the sack. Not in a million years.
You've won
I thought he was just...
You won a major European trophy. What is the problem?
And he knows the team. He knows what he's got, and he knows what he's got to do.
I mean, let's get an opinion here. That squad even fit? Do you think that Tottenham squad's a top 4, top 5 Premier League team?
Nah, no way.
If they're all fit?
No,
I don't either.
Not now.
Well shot.
Not now.
So either.
Not now.
No, but I don't think they were, mate. I think they were well shot. I think the reality is that, you know, he would need. Let's say he'd stayed. I think to be challenging up there, he would need at least 4 players. At least 4 players of premium quality. I mean, what you mentioned, Gary about Ferguson. I mean, that was back in an era when that could happen. I mean, look at Man United now. I mean, no one would get 3 or 4 years at Man United. I mean,
but the management at Man United is hopeless. I mean, how do you sell McTominay? I mean, I was so loud about that. Why would you sell McTominay? You've got to be joking. I'm a Man United supporter. You're selling McTominay? You've got to be joking. Italian Footballer of the Year. I mean, the stupidity. Sacking Ange is, to me, as stupid as letting McTominay go.
The issue Man United have got is the McTominay they could get money for. I mean, who would buy any of the Man United players? They're the liabilities. They're no assets.
So why sell McTominay for nothing,
mate?
They did get money from. I mean, they got a few million from.
Kenny, they're the type of decisions that now Daniel Levy will have to come up with. For example, even if they get Thomas Frank as coach with his staff, they're going to have to build a team for the Champions League. And
of course,
I'm just sad that Ange Postecoglou didn't get the opportunity. He certainly deserved the opportunity to compete in the Champions League. He earned it with his group, and then the recruitment campaign now for July, August would have been to build for the Champions League and the Premier League, and he didn't get the chance, gentlemen. I mean, you know, I think that we could be talking all day, but we'll never work it out.
And we also forget Mourinho got the sack at Tottenham. He got to the final of the FA Cup and they sacked him before the final.
And Manchester United too? Jesus. My boys, I just want to
In today's fast-paced business world, reliable logistics is key to success. That's where PC and FS Logistics come in. With a comprehensive range of services including air, sea and domestic transport, as well as secure warehousing, we've got your supply chain covered. From origin destination, our expert team ensures your goods are handled with care and delivered on time, every time.
changes for a second because I want to change to the next subject that we're doing right now. I want to talk about the game last week, of course, Japan and Australia last week. I said to myself, are they the real players we're going to be using at the World Cup if we qualify? Are we for real? I mean, look, I saw Barello last week. What did Barello do last week? Absolutely nothing. We didn't have a player, not even up front. Everybody was back. Not one player up front, just in case. We did get him on the break. Yes, we did. We scored that goal. But not at the beginning. Players were playing right back, Davo, right back. There was nobody. It was as if they were playing some kind of, trying to make a human wall to stop them from scoring goals. That's all it was about, Davo. What did you think of that?
I think they played a bit of a defensive game because they were playing a Japanese team, but they were playing a second team as well.
Yep.
You know, like the first team were all out. You know, so
they were still outplayed.
Well,
yeah,
I've never seen
the quality of the difference.
Yeah, I've never seen an Australian team that poor in my 40 odd years here. That's the poorest Australian performance I've ever seen. I mean, we never got a tackle in. We never, the Japanese back three. I mean, even Stevie Wonder after 15 minutes would have said, "Let's high press and don't allow the three Japanese defenders to dictate play." And I don't even know if we parked the bus. I just don't think we got into the game. I just don't even think. I don't remember us putting a tackle in.
There was nothing. There was nothing there, Kenny.
Kenny, let's talk about the fact that Australia have not lost since Tony Popovich has taken over. Let's talk about the imminent game against Saudi Arabia. For example, I've had a look at the stats. And we've obviously got 4 points out of Japan, but we have not beaten Saudi Arabia in a long time. I just had a look here on 6th of October 2016, nearly 10 years. We drew, and the last 5 games that we played with Saudi Arabia, we've drawn 3, they've won 1, we've won 1. With Japan, I think whether we were playing a terrible game, a horrible game, a brutal, I don't know, just an ugly performance as Davidson wouldn't be able to explain this better because he was playing in defence at times and he would know what a coach's instructions would be. But I think Popovich, guys, let's congratulate him. He has got the results. He beat Japan, and we can't say boo about that. It was an ugly game, yes, but now he's only 1 point away, 90 minutes, 1 point away from the next qualifications. Absolutely wonderful.
Angelo, here's my problem, Angelo. You're either going to the World Cup to participate, or you're going to try and do something. Please don't tell me that team that we had the other night can go to the World Cup against an elite team,
mate,
and we won't get embarrassed off the pitch. We will get smashed.
Yeah, but hang on, Kenny, you've got to hold your horses because Australia in the last World Cup in Qatar, they actually selected 11 players from the A-League, and no one thought they were going to do well, and they played their best game against Argentina. They lost 2-1, and I think it was Kroll that missed that great opportunity. They could have drawn the game. I think in terms of performance, when you go to a World Cup, and I want to ask Alan Davidson, because he is a footballer, and Gary, of course, just what their thoughts are. When you go to a World Cup, I think the players lift about 30-40% in their motivation, their spirit. They get caught by the ambience, the culture. I mean, David, what do you think?
Oh no, there's no doubt if you achieve to go to the World Cup. I never went to a World Cup, but I watched my son playing in a World Cup, and even as a supporter or as a father, you can only imagine what the players were going through and being out there. So I think the pride of playing in a World Cup and the pride of playing for Australia is in every shirt and every player. And there's obviously, there's no doubt about it, but it still comes back to it. There's a question mark though, still of qualifying, and Australia look like they've qualified, even though they didn't play well. You got to look at the other side of the coin. They didn't concede. Maybe that was the thing, not to concede and pinch it. And they did it in the last minute, but at the same time, when was the last time Australia beat Japan?
Oh, gee, 16 years ago, exactly. Yeah. But let me just say,
I'll look at the facts.
Can I just?
I think we're starting to talk like. I think we're all starting to talk like Levy now. You know what I mean? Like,
let me say,
Alan, there's a couple of things to take out of that game.
We're qualified, but I've got to say, I'm a purist. I just want to see. I want to see a good Australian team that goes up teams, and plays the Australian way. I've got to be hand on heart. I'm watching that the other night. I thought that was
oh mate,
by far the worst Australian performance against, and we're comparing it against the Japanese team. And I think technically they were very good. I think they've got some cracking.
They got depth, Kenny. They've got depth. They've got depth in their second players. Depth in it.
Yeah, but if they had played, the Brighton lad, if they had played the boy from Mönchengladbach, if they'd played the European and Premier League players, the strikers, mate, they would have smashed us the other night.
Yeah, they played in the Bundesliga as well.
But Kenny, at the end of the day, the last 2 minutes, McGree's turn. I love the way he looked like he was going to hold the ball up.
Yes.
But he decided, I'm just going to pretend I'm going to hold the ball up and I'm going to take it in its flow and get to the byline and cut the ball back for a really nice finish. And I thought, I know they played like a bunch of dogs and it's been almost amateur hour, but I really liked that bit at the end. I just thought, okay, well, there were two lovely bits of skill. I mean,
Great finish.
Yeah,
yes.
It was a great finish, but what a great turn by McGree. What a great turn.
I'm taking I'm Scottish, and I'm sick of all the time Scotland went to the World Cup when we beat the postcards back. It used to drive me bonkers. We'd go there with a great team, and we'd get beat by Zaire and teams that would beat us. I'd be going, seriously, And so I'm tainted with that sort of stuff. I want an Australian team to go there and compete. 2005, that was like unbelievable. And the last World Cup, I mean, we competed. The boys did really well. They did fantastically well. But I don't think the last World Cup squad. No. I don't think this squad is as good as that squad.
No,
I don't think they are.
Let me just bring this point to you guys right now. I just have this point, Angelo, for a sec. I'm just looking at the table right now in front of me, and I'm looking at the goal differences between Australia and of course, Saudi Arabia. I mean, we've got 8. Our goal difference is 8, and their goal difference is 0. How come they've got a 0 goal difference? So I'd like to know what's going on here. And they've got to beat us by 8-0, more than 8-0 to qualify. You think they're going to be going straight at the goals every? They're going to be going bang, bang, bang? I don't think so, Kenny.
Well, just to answer your question, sorry, Kenny, because I've got some stats in front of me. Saudi Arabia, they beat China 1-0 the last 5 games. They beat Jordan 2-0. They beat Bahrain 2-0, and they drew with Japan. They've scored 5 and conceded no goals. And the last time that Australia beat Saudi Arabia was 8th of June 2017. They beat them 3-2, and we lost to them in 2022 1-0. So, and the last result we've had with them was 14th of November last year when we drew 0-0.
Oh, was that game?
Gentlemen, I don't think they're going too well themselves. I mean, they lost to Oman, they lost to Bahrain.
Maybe they can. They'll go into the third spot qualifying run. But keep in mind, they were by far last World Cup.
Yes, the best team in the group.
Japan too. We had to go through third best. That's what happened to them. They'll go through third best. They'll qualify. Third best. They'll go through. So it'll be Japan, Australia, automatic. Saudi will have to go the hard way. But they were the last World Cup. Oh. They were miles ahead of us, Japan. Yeah, they were fantastic.
But Kenny, we can't really knock Popovich. I mean, he stepped in after that in November. Sometime he's actually played 7 games, and he's going to be playing 8 when they face Saudi Arabia. He's going to go to the World Cup without a loss. And if they are a worse team or not, that's probably another point. And you're probably right about that. They were a fantastic group last time, and I think Matt Leckie came in, from overseas, and he went back to Melbourne Victory. He had a fantastic. Look, they all did. They played well as a group, but I think making a World Cup, going into a World Cup without a loss, and Davidson and Ward will probably be able to answer better because that plays. That gives you a lot of confidence. You sort of lift your spirits and lift your playing performance.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned it before. The problem I've got with the World Cup now is by increasing the amount of teams like we're doing, it increases the mediocrity. You're not got elite teams anymore. You're going to get mediocrity coming through, and you're going to get. I'm quite sure it'll be groups of probably 6. If it's groups of 6, there'll be 3 seeded, 3 non-seeded. Some of the scores are going to be frightening. They're going to be frightening. You imagine Spain or Portugal playing against some of these teams. There'll be telephone numbers, and that's my concern about again going back. We're talking about business and Levy, and the World Cup's turned into a business.
It is.
They've increased the amount of number of teams beyond the elite level.
Kenny, you mentioned, Kenny, exactly what you just said. What I have here right now is Uzbekistan have qualified, and Jordan.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the scores against them? Can you imagine the scores? Uzbekistan.
Point is, don't you? Ken's point is absolutely right.
What was that, boys?
The game that was played last week against Japan, I know what Ken's saying. He's saying if we play like it's the problem is technically we were so poor. Yeah. I mean, our first touch was poor, our vision was poor, our ability to find some space or close down quickly, or have an element of surprise. Let's say we were so hopeless.
We were.
I understand what Ken is saying. My God, if we took that game, we won against you. You take that game to the World Cup, and it will be embarrassing. There's going to have a lot of improvement technically to start off with, and they're obviously, I tell what Ken is saying is it was so poor to watch. You think, how could you not control that? How could you not see that space? How could you not understand that a little ball over the top right now was the perfect option? It was like, oh my God, it's amateur hour. It was horrible to watch. I was in shock.
Smash and grab. It was just a smash and grab game.
I remember going to the World Cup in 2014 and watching Australia play, and I was there to watch my son and all that. And they were playing against Chile in there. They were playing against Spain, and they were playing against
Serbia?
Netherlands.
Was it Serbia too? No, it wasn't Serbia.
It was Netherlands, Spain, and Chile. And they were top class leagues and players. And, against Netherlands, we probably should have won the game, but we didn't. And against Spain, they only lost by the odd goal. And, Chile was the same again, and I'm not saying, and everyone was bagging Angelo because of his team and all that sort of stuff, because he had all the young ones in there at that time. So I'm not saying anything negative against Popovic and his selection, because I just want to keep my mouth shut, because at the end of the day, it's another new team that's been picked just off the random thing, and I'm sure that he's going to make changes or make decisions later on as well. But I'm just grateful that they've qualified, and they probably didn't deserve to win, and it didn't look like they were going to win. It looked like it was going to be a draw, but Bate scored a great goal, and, looks like they're through now, and, that's it.
There's no way in the world that Saudi Arabia is going to beat us 9-0.
Right,
no way.
Well, that's
no chance.
Well, I hope no chance.
No chance. If Papa's parking the bus at home against Japan, he's certainly going to be parking the bus in Saudi just to get a point.
All defenders be playing. You watch. Oh God, they put him up there. And
guys, I'd like to talk about a positive. I don't know whether Davo and Gary appreciate this, but a player by the name of Alessandro Cittati, Alex Cittati, who plays in the Serie A, and he slotted into that, central defender role beautifully. But guys, just let me tell you how proud I was sitting here in Italy and watching Ciccati play for Parma against Napoli, playing for Parma against Inter Milan, playing for 90 minutes by the way, 90 minutes, he didn't sort of come in off the bench. He is a regular player, and I think he's one of the big pluses for the Socceroos. He really showed his spirit and played well. I don't know whether you guys, what you think. I spoke to Mason Adelaide, I spoke to Aurelio Vidmar, I spoke to Tony Vidmar, obviously their mates, and very impressed with him. 21-year-old, never played A-League. He was told he wasn't good enough, boy from Perth, but he's now playing in Serie A. He's played 35 games out of 38, and he's playing for the Socceroos. I think that's a big positive to me, and I'm very proud of it.
And
we should all be proud of it.
We should, and what I want to say also too is Christian Volpato, who still doesn't know which way he's going to go, whether it's going to be Italy or Australia. That's the other thing. Like Ciccati.
He won't, Harry.
Volpato won't play
for the Socceroos
anymore. In Italy, hasn't he?
Graham Arnold approached him. He's another guy, exactly the same path as Alessandro Ciccati. He's the guy from Sydney that was knocked back from Western Sydney Wanderers, knocked back from Sydney, and Graham Arnold was one of them that knocked him back, then tried to get him back. But, of course, the kid is 21, playing for Sassuolo. They just got promoted from Serie B to Serie A. And he's another player that was let go. But unfortunately, he's played for Italy's under 21. He played. I think he was brought on for 60 minutes, and so he can't play for Australia. But I think Arnold will probably take different players with him to the World Cup as well. Let's just look. He's still got to make it. I know. Davo said that we've made it, but we've still got to get a point. 1 point from this game. To make sure. Look. I'm very positive about it. I think once they get to the World Cup, we'll see a better performance, Kenny, and I will be ringing you up, Kenny.
Mate, let me tell you, mate, we don't need a point. We can get beat 7-0 and still qualify.
Honestly, guys, please. I just want to make sure that we are actually in the same group.
God, I'll fly to the Amalfi Coast. If we don't qualify,
God, here we go.
I'm flying to the Amalfi Coast for 2 days, and I'll take you for lunch.
I just to tell you, Kenny.
I'll be down there in 2.5 months, Kenny.
There you go.
I'll be down in Brianna.
I think we're
down by Pastor mate. On the 25th of August.
Mate.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Then I'm in Paros and Santorini,
Paros,
mate.
Kenny, let me tell you, guys, gentlemen, I'm very disappointed with Italy's performance. I know Kenny
Norway, 4-0.
I am very nervous about them making the World Cup. Australia's gone through, but they lost. Italy lost to Norway 3-0. And obviously, I can bring you this news breaking off breaking news.
The coach is gone.
Spalletti's going to get the sack. He's gone. He's going to be coaching tonight against Moldova. But they've got Italy, because they played in the Nations League. They've got 7 games to play, whereas Norway have got 5. And, with 7 games, we have to win every game to get to 21
They're going to appoint Ange. Ange is going to coach Italy.
Mate. I tell you what, mate. Oh, no. Again.
The timing's perfect.
I don't think we can do any well. I think they're after Ranieri, but I think Ange Postecoglou, there's news about him, like in Italy now, they're talking about it. I reckon he could score.
I reckon he will. I think he'd be Italy's coach go to the World Cup.
Here's a sliding doors moment.
Oh, mate.
The Brentford guy gets the Tottenham job. Ange gets the Brentford job. Brentford finish above Tottenham in the Premier League. How good would that be?
There's two other clubs. There's 2 other clubs, guys. There's West Ham and Leeds. Somebody's put up Leeds in England, so let's see what happens there too.
He's not getting the lead. They're not getting the Leeds are not getting rid of their coach, mate. He's just brought them up. Jesus.
That's what they're saying.
No chance of them sacking him. A big fit.
Yeah, but Kenny, stranger things have happened. You look at Leicester City last year. They came up from the Championship to the Premier League, and Maresca, who's now coaching Chelsea, he actually left the club. Obviously he was approached by Chelsea, it's a different situation, but you just never know. Leeds United, the coach got him there, he might be going to another club.
I mean, he had the Norwich job. He came up with Norwich, and he obviously got relegated. Then he went to Leeds, and he's brought them up. You know, I think he'll definitely take Leeds into the Premier League. I don't think that'll be an issue. But the guys you got to look at is the Brighton manager might get a gig somewhere. You know, he's done well. The Fulham manager, he's done well. You know what? It wouldn't be an outside bet because the Greek lad at Nottingham Forest wasn't too happy with the coach there, a few weeks ago. But that wouldn't be a bad mix for Ange. You know.
Yeah. No, look, I don't think you'd be short of a job.
No, mate. Look, you know what? You know, as I say, he'll wear it with a badge of honour. All the big coaches have all been sacked, mate, and you know they've all moved. Some of them have moved, like you said. Ancelotti gets sacked at Everton and went to Real Madrid.
Yep,
exactly. I
honestly think I'm very confident with Australia. Obviously, I think they'll probably do better than what we think in the World Cup because there's 48 teams, and I think Australia right now are ranked around about 23rd. I think 23rd. So they should do well, and you just never know, Kenny. You know what it's like with the World Cup. Morocco surprised everybody in the last World Cup. Australia, I think Australia surprised everybody.
Morocco were a really good side, mate. I mean, technically they were very good. You couldn't look at that Australian side the other night and look at the individual players there and go, you know, was there any standards?
Kenny, there was one.
Any that look as though they're going to hit, you know, in the Premier League or you know, really big clubs, you know, like we've had before. I mean, unfortunately, we've got that drought. We've got lots of journeymen who work hard and try their best, but that flair component, you know, we don't have a lot. You know, we're not as good as 2014. We're certainly not as good as the last two World Cup squads. I don't think. Well, anyway,
Kenny, there's one player missing, Kenny. One player missing, and he was missing last week. And I wish he was playing last week. But I tell you what, whether he plays in Saudi he's an asset in Saudi because he's played in Saudi and he's injured. Craig Goodwin, he's a massive asset.
Well, mate, you know what I think of him? He's our only. When I mean only player, I mean our only offensive player.
Exactly.
That looks to me as though
he's going to score.
He can really do something.
That's right.
Consistently.
When he
gets the ball, it always looks as though he's going to do something. You know, and we sorely miss him. And you're right.
Oh,
you know,
mate.
And I'd forgot. To be honest, you know, I'd completely forgotten about Craig.
Harry Suter as well.
For me, yeah, he's a sort of Harry Kewell to me. You know, he must be in the team for me, you know.
At the World Cup, definitely.
But look, you know, I hope I'm proved wrong. But mate, the first 48 team thing for me, you know, and mate, can you imagine if all these teams qualifying Italy and Scotland don't? Mate, me and you won't be able to go anywhere.
Mate, honestly.
48 teams in Scotland and Italy don't get there.
Two extra.
Really? Yeah.
I mean, as I said to you.
If Italy don't get there, gentlemen, you know, they've won 4 World Cups. If Italy don't get there, that's the third time. So I think they will make it, but you know, not making the World Cup in the US is just it's just going to be a tragedy. I think for Italian football.
I think they'll appoint Ange. I really do. I think they'll just appoint him within the next week.
The thing about that, Angelo, is they've let too many of these international.
He's gone nowhere for 3 or 4 weeks.
Too many players. Is this what I'm hearing?
$24 million. Mate, I've got to be honest, I must say this. If I was Ange, right, and after all the shit you had to go through at Tottenham, and someone said to me, mate, will you take a pair of $24 million and leave? I would have snatched their hands up.
Yeah.
I would have snatched their hands up.
I want to ask a question
if you want to speak to Ange, you've got to get hold of Archie Fraser.
Oh, jeez.
That's all right. I'll speak to Archie tomorrow.
Dave, when you...
Because he's got a hotline to him.
Dave, when you were at...
I think he could buy a Greek island and just sit back and relax. But he's not going to be short of a job. I think
already...
By the
you'll get plenty of offers.
Because, you know, on a serious note, the mentality of the other clubs in the Premier League, in Italy and all the other major leagues, they will be appreciating a lot more what Ange has achieved than Daniel Levy.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Dave, I want to talk to you about as we saw Ange actually be abused as he's walking off the field by the supporters, this and this. I mean, you played at Nottingham Forest. You were under. You know who I'm talking about, don't you? You know exactly. What was Clough doing when they were giving him the crap and the rubbish and they were swearing at him and everything, and he's walking off? You would have seen all this stuff. But Ange just was pretty clear about just walking off and saying, calm down, calm down. But then you would have seen this bloke, Clough. What was he like with the crowd, mate, when he's getting told off?
Knocking them out.
Really? Oh, that's what I saw the video. I saw that video. I saw the video. I saw the video.
He was knocking them out.
Bloody hell, mate.
Brilliant.
Jesus, mate. I saw
If they videoed the picture, he was grabbing them and belting them around the back of the head.
I saw that. I
He's
remember that.
brilliant.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
So
Those days are gone.
Yeah, I know, mate. You can't do that.
With
Mate, he went into the Wimbledon dressing room. Vinnie Jones
Oh no.
and the crazy guy had a ghetto blaster, and they kept turning it up really loud. And Clough told one of the players to go and says, "Ask me to turn that down." He went and asked me to turn it down. They turned it up. He marched into the room, kicked the door open, grabbed the ghetto blaster off Vinnie Jones
Jesus.
and smashed it. And
Oh
walked
my
out.
God.
Oh, he's a legend,
Mate.
absolute legend.
That's not Ange. Ange wouldn't do that, mate. There's no way he'd do that.
No. One thing with Ange is quite intellectually smart too. He knows how to handle himself. He knows what to do. And when it's negative, he keeps it down. And then, at the end of the day, sometimes he might have a talk back to some of these, people who are, quizzing him in these interviews and all that. But generally speaking, when you listen to him, he's quite thoughtful and the answer's very, very smart.
Yeah. Now, Kenny, next week, guess what we're talking about? Something that you really hate, Kenny, about this. You must hate this. You've told me many times about this. You don't want to know about it. It's a lot of money, mate. It's a lot of money in America next week. We're talking about the Club World Cup, Kenny. The Club World Cup, mate. I can see your face straight away. I can see it straight away.
It's just so many extra games piled on for players, But like you said, they've got big prize money, massive prize money,
mate.
But you look at it and you go, like for example, I just noticed the other day. Obviously, clubs have already gone off on tour. You've got most of the teams arriving in Singapore here to play a tournament. We're getting Wrexham, lucky us, right?
Oh my God.
Lucky us, we've got a real gate crasher there.
Oh mate.
But when you look at some of the clubs, you look at it and you think, there's no other break, right? And they're going to go and play in this World Club Championship. And then when they come back, some of them will be playing in pre-qualification for the Champions League.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, they might get 2-3 weeks break if you're lucky. Anyway, it's just how many games can you cram into 52 weeks of the year?
If you think about it, clubs all over the world, I think I'd be interested to think what you guys say, but they invest a lot of money into players like 70 million, 100 million, 200 million now, Jamal. And now, just think about it, they're very clever because this tournament is being played in June. All of the players' contracts end 30th of June. Dude. So all of that is included in the players' contract. Whether they play Serie A or English Premier League or Champions League or Europa League, that's included in the players' contract. This tournament also, so it's not something extra that the clubs have to fork out to pay their players. It's within their contract. And Kenny, you and I always talk about how much money, our clubs invest. Maybe some players are clubs are too much. 200 million, 100 million, whatever. Davo is sitting there thinking about the old days when it was $1 million, 2 million, 5 million. Now you're talking about 100, 200 million. And I think one of the positives is that any club that participates in this competition doesn't have to fork out any more money because it is included in the players' contract.
You know better than that. Do you think the players' agents are going to let them go and play in the World Club Championships and not get any money? Really?
No.
Really?
No. It's within their contract. They will get bonuses. Obviously.
When does that ever? When is that? This is a new competition, right? It's a bit like when vinyl and CDs came out. Like when artists used to record on vinyl, and then all of a sudden they brought CDs out, and the artist says, "Well, hang on, you're going to have to pay me, although it's the same music, you're going to release it on CD. You're going to have to pay me double." I'd be surprised if all the top players are going to go and play in that and not get any extra money.
Very disappointed. I'm very disappointed.
No, Kenny, what I'm saying, it's within their contract, but they will get bonuses. Bonuses money is like always extra because, like you could have a player's contract. If you make the Champions League, the top four, they get a bonus. The coach gets a bonus, and so on and so on. But they're still within their contract. So,
In today's fast-paced business world, reliable logistics is key to success. That's where PC and FS Logistics come in. With a comprehensive range of services including air, sea and domestic transport, as well as secure warehousing, we've got your supply chain covered. From origin destination, our expert team ensures your goods are handled with care and delivered on time, every time.
I just want to say this about this Club World Cup, that Auckland City FC, not the Auckland in the A-League. This is the Auckland City FC. They're actually playing in this. I can imagine what group they're in and how much. Mate, that's what I'm trying to say. And also, we haven't got not one team from Australia. It is disgusting not having it. And of course, Dave knows South Melbourne were in one of them at one stage, weren't we? We were there. South Melbourne, when Ange was the coach as well. So why not have at least one A-League team not playing? This doesn't make sense at all, Angelo. Why not one A-League team, mate?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I think that the criteria has been, it's been the first time that they've gone out to 32 teams. And I think that there are some flawless issues there. I don't think it's 100% correct as yet because, as you say, definitely one of the A-League teams could have participated in this Club World Cup. I know that Adelaide United did. I know that Popovich, when he was at Western Sydney, they competed. But I don't know. I don't know what's happened. I don't know why they were left out.
Auckland.
Really don't know.
Auckland, the competition in New Zealand.
If you remember back many years ago, Alex Ferguson took Man United to play in this World Club Championship and pulled out the FA Cup. And the FA Cup has never been the same since. Oh. Man United pulled out to go and play in the World Club Championships. And it just deflated that competition beyond belief. And it's never recovered. Gary will tell you, the FA Cup, when you were growing up, was the pinnacle of the season, wasn't it, Gary? 10th of May, every year.
Absolutely. But the way they used to do it is every amateur club, no matter what village, no matter what town, were given 2 tickets to the FA Cup final so that they could raffle them or do whatever so that it was spread across everybody.
Unbelievable.
You couldn't just hoard the tickets. So no matter what little village you came from, that football club got 2 tickets from the FA to create the atmosphere in every little local community, so that the 100,000 people that went to the FA Cup have probably never, ever been to such an event in their life. Back in the day of me being in England and everything else, I can remember those, the excitement around the FA Cup. It was unbelievable. You would never miss it.
Angelo, is Napoli in the World Club Championships?
No, they do that. They actually do this every 2 years. Inter Milan and Juventus qualified, but it's a different criteria in Europe. I really don't understand what type of criteria they use for New Zealand and Australia. Because like Harry mentioned, I'm just surprised that there's no A-League teams there.
Yeah.
But every 2 years, it's points. It's a point system. And the performance, win, lose games, and also how you go into the Serie A. I think Napoli will probably qualify for the one that's going to be held in 2 years.
As I said, I can't believe a local team from New Zealand, a local team, Kenny, and you guys, can you imagine the scores? Can you imagine how many goals they're going to cop, these guys? They're just a local team from New Zealand, not the Auckland from the A-League. This is the Auckland City FC from their only local comp. They're only like a comp. I can't believe that. How they got in, who knows? Just crazy. As far as I'm concerned, boys, thank you for joining me tonight, gentlemen. Of course, Kenny, we're just about finished on time. 6 minutes. Sorry, Kenny, we're just a little bit over tonight. But anyway, Davo, thank you. I know. It was always
That's all
very.
right, I've got the chops in the oven.
Yeah, I told you. I knew.
See you guys.
Thank you for joining me tonight, boys. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys. Football This was live tonight, guys. Thank you, everybody. Gary, everybody, thank you for joining us, guys. Oh, boy, what a great show it was tonight, gentlemen. A great show tonight. A lot of stuff tonight. Don't forget, next week we're going to bring up the Club World Cup as well. The Club World Cup, of course. And that's what we're going to do, the Club World Cup next week. And don't forget, get out to your clubs. Get out to your clubs and see the games. Don't fear about the weather. Just get out there and support them. Let them make some money as well. Thanks, guys. Thank you for joining me tonight, guys. Hup, hit it. Hup, hup. Check it out. Hup. See you next Monday, as I said, 8 p.m. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff at the Club World Cup. Hey! The cup of life, this is the one. Now is the time, don't ever stop. We should have known, gotta be strong. We should have known right from the top. And when you feel the heat, the world is at your feet. Don't forget, guys, 4:45 a.m. in the morning on Wednesday when the Socceroos will qualify for the World Cup. So don't forget, guys, we'll see you next week and we'll party as well. Thank you, guys. Here we go. Let's do it. Let's party. Okay, Socceroos on Wednesday morning. Here we go. Here we go. Thanks, guys. See you next week. Let's celebrate next week with the Socceroos winning the game in Saudi Arabia if they can do it. Thanks, guys. Thank you for joining me, guys. Thank you.